You think you're in control?
You believe it's just a habit, a moment of pleasure, a passing craving.
But deep down, something feels off. The more you chase it, the emptier it becomes. Despite countless promises to stop, the cycle always finds its way back. That's because this isn't really about lust. It's about something far deeper, a hidden wound buried in your unconscious, crying out for attention. Carl Jung believed that addiction, particularly to something as primal as lust, isn't indulgence in pleasure, it's avoidance of pain. It's a strategy to escape yourself. But paradoxically, the very thing you're running from may be the key to your healing. By peeling back the psychological layers behind compulsive desire, we can see that lust was never the enemy. It was the messenger. Layer 1. Lust is the shadow's disguise. Lust often arises not from pleasure, but from pain cloaked in craving. Jung called this the shadow, the hidden aspects of ourselves we exile because they don't align with who we're supposed to be. Lust becomes a mask for loneliness, emotional hunger, and abandonment. Rather than confront these uncomfortable truths, we scroll, swipe, fantasize. But each indulgence buries the shadow deeper, and the deeper it goes, the louder it screams. Healing begins when we stop silencing this messenger and begin decoding what it's trying to say. Layer 2. Dopamine is not joy. Many confuse dopamine-driven pleasure with true happiness. But dopamine isn't the reward, it's the promise of one. That's why the high is fleeting and leaves you emptier than before. Jung warned against this confusion of stimulation with fulfillment. Real joy comes not from click-driven gratification, but from meaning, stillness, and presence. The next time you feel drawn to the screen, ask yourself, is this joy or just another hit? Layer 3. The inner child is still searching. Underneath the craving is often a wounded child, one who felt unseen, unloved, untouched. Lust becomes a substitute for connection, a fantasy the child built to survive. Jung believed every adult carries within them this inner child, holding memories even your conscious mind forgets. That child doesn't want sex, it wants safety. When we chase lust, we're often chasing a feeling of being chosen and enough. No surge of dopamine can heal that. Only self-compassion and presence can. Layer 4. Addiction thrives in the absence of meaning. Addiction isn't just a weakness. It's a misdirected hunger. In a world devoid of meaning, lust offers a quick substitute. It mimics aliveness but leaves us hollow. Jung asserted that meaning, not success or pleasure, is the cornerstone of a healthy psyche. Without it, the soul begins to decay. True healing begins not with more discipline, but with purpose. Ask not, how do I stop, but what am I living for? Layer 5. The ego resists change. Progress often brings relapse. Why? Because the ego isn't interested in truth, it's interested in familiarity. As you evolve, your ego panics. It doesn't know who you are without the habit. It presses every button it can, shame, nostalgia, fantasy, to lure you back into the loop. But when the urge surges right before a breakthrough, it's not failure. It's the final test. Sit with it just a little longer, and you start meeting the real you. Layer 6. Numbness is not healing. Eventually, lust stops feeling good. It becomes mechanical, dull. But you keep doing it, not for pleasure, but to avoid the discomfort underneath. This is the most dangerous stage, numbness. Jung warned that repressed pain doesn't disappear, it distorts. When you numb yourself, you lose touch with not just pain, but life itself. The way back is through stillness, not escape. The path to wholeness lies in re-entering yourself, one moment of presence at a time. Layer 7. When lust fades, what's left? One day the craving simply isn't there. You don't feel triumphant, you feel nothing. This is where many falter. The absence of lust creates a void, a silence unfamiliar to a mind conditioned by chaos. Jung described this disorientation as the ego's confusion when its old identity dissolves. But this isn't regression. It's recalibration. In that stillness, your true desires begin to speak, not for escape, but for connection, purpose, and presence. Layer 8. Power lies in choosing not to use it. True freedom isn't immunity from temptation. It's mastery over it. Jung believed healing isn't about never being tempted again, but about no longer being ruled by it. You don't need to suppress the shadow. You learn to walk beside it without being led by it. You see the old urges arise and you smile, because you've passed this test. You've felt a peace that chaos can't offer, and now you no longer chase the high. You embody strength without needing to prove it. Layer 9. The shadow never dies, but you don't have to obey it. The final truth is sobering. The shadow doesn't vanish. The old cravings, the old patterns, they still whisper. But now they no longer command you. Jung taught that the goal isn't perfection, but wholeness. Integration, not elimination. Healing means becoming the person who can hold all parts of themselves, even the wounded ones, with clarity and compassion. You don't destroy the darkness. You walk beside it, guided by understanding, not fear. So what now? Maybe you'll be tempted to forget everything you just read, to return to the loop. But if something in this message struck a chord, don't run. Sit with it. Ask, what am I really chasing? What am I really avoiding? And who could I become if I finally stopped? Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But you've started to wake up. You've faced yourself. And that means you're ready. This isn't the end, it's the beginning of your return. Not to who the world told you to be, but to who you were all along.